Have you tried training methods that just didn't work? Do you feel that your pet is not getting his or her nutritional needs met? Are illnesses and bad behavior your daily norm? You're going to want to join me on the Pet Parenting Reset, where you'll hear interesting and informative interviews and get solutions to all your pet problems. I'm your host, Jessica L. Fisher. Well, hello, all you wonderful pet parents. Thank you for joining us again on the Pet Parenting Reset. And today's podcast, I am so excited for. We are talking about all things black cats and witches. This is the Halloween special, but I am even more excited for today's guest. She wears many hats, sometimes even a pointy black one. A lifelong cat lover and psychic, she has burnished her skills over many decades. At her blog, Cat Wisdom 101, she has educated cat lovers for the past 10 years. To help promote Black cat adoption, she founded Black Cat Awareness Month, which is celebrated every October. And she's the author of an award-winning book, Black Cats Tell All, True Tales and Inspiring Images. Equally adept at juggling tarot cards, creating visionary art, taking shamanic journeys while communicating with her two one-eyed cats, Layla is passionate about speaking about everything magical and feline. And I already gave it away, but if you don't already know, we are joined today with Layla Morgan Wilde. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm just so delighted to be here.
Oh, I can't. I have been wanting to do this episode for so long. And yeah, we're just going to chat. And all of you out there, let me tell you, Layla is incredible. I have been following her on Clubhouse for quite some time. I've been listening to her far longer than I've been talking with her. But I'm so honored to have the opportunity to bring her to you because she is she just has so much incredible wisdom. Whether you have a black cat or any other cat, they don't have to be black. She has so much great information for all of us out there. So definitely check out Cat Wisdom 101. But Layla, today we are talking about black cats and witches. And like I was telling you before, I am so fascinated by this, and I have been doing a little bit of research on it. But yeah, we're just going to start with, we're just going to have like a fun little chat today, and start with how black cats became a symbol of Halloween.
Well, a few things actually, but I do want to just share. I don't know if you're aware, but Halloween now is probably the biggest holiday after Christmas. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So we didn't get to doing this huge interest, the way that we're decorating. I mean, look at my little altar behind me. I didn't always do that a few years ago. So if we want to delve right into the roots, I think there isn't just one. So you're asking kind of a because of all the mythology, some say, oh, it's the Egyptians, and it could be the ancient Greeks, and it could be, going back to the witch hunt during the Middle Ages. But if we want to get into myth, the origin of the familiar, the magical assistant, if you will, to a witch would go back to the Greek myth of Hecate. So she is the goddess, the Greek goddess of the moon and magic. And so so that particular story where, one thing shape-shifted into another thing. So the servant got shape-shifted into a black cat, and then that became Hecate's familiar. So that's kind of the roots of that. But it's a lot more complicated. Then we bring in the whole witches in terms of the Middle Ages. Can I read you a short paragraph from my book that actually explains it?
Absolutely. I would love
Yeah,
that.
let me just quickly do this because a lot of people don't know because there's so much wrong information. So this is from my book, Black Cats Tell All. And so this is, yeah. So honestly, this is the fact, not the myth, not the fiction, not the fantasy. And so we can trace back the origins of black cat superstitions to the 13th of June, 1233. So at that time, there was the Pope Gregory the Ninth, and he issued a papal bull. That's an official church document, and it was titled the Vox in Rama. And in it, it declared that black cats were an incarnation of Satan. And anyone possessing a black cat then could be associated with devil worship and witchcraft. So this public, formal, from the church decree that marked the beginning not only of the Inquisition, that's that whole church sanctioned heretic and witch hunts. And this was actually, and the directly right after that, this, I don't know, I don't remember if he was actually a friend or he was some kind of associate. Because remember, in terms of the Catholic Church, there was always a big financial or commercial aspect, including the whole witch hunt, which we could get into later. But anyway, so he appointed a formal inquisitor, so kind of a heretic or witch hunter. And so he was a German fellow, Conrad von Marburg. So he's a priest. And his job was to, quell the growing numbers of the Cathars. That was a Christian sect, which were considered heretics. And so he's the guy, Marburg, discovered this cult in Germany, and they were called the Luciferians. And that was kind of like, from there, it just kind of spread like wildfire, as, kind of like bad news does, or, when there's fear and all of that. So basically, we can blame the Catholic Church. Yeah.
Yeah, I read about that when I was doing a little bit of research for today's episode as well. And it was really interesting because it started, like you said, with this decree on black cats being basically the devil incarnate, right? And like this massive game of telephone throughout the Catholic Church, to where all of these men who were going out and killing all of these black cats, they just kind of started killing all cats because this, game of telephone was just getting distorted what they were actually to do.
Yeah, exactly. And, mostly women, again, not exclusively women, but again, any kind of stereotype of, let's say, a woman that was single, older, maybe they kept cats, but, familiars can be dogs as well, particularly black dogs. But, if you look at the tradition, before we had, doctors, physicians, the way that we do now, the wise women, the herbalists, the healers, they were usually the woman kind of the village, a healer. And those were the first ones that would be targeted because they had the magic. They had the ability to heal. They had the ability to, do something that was separate from the church. They didn't need an intermediary of a church. They could go directly to source. And that's a whole other thing in terms of, the whole women and empowerment and or lack thereof. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think that ties in so much with the idea of witches, right? The way that the society we live in, stereotypes witches. And what got me so interested in this was actually a question that Jay from the Two Crazy Cat Ladies asked me a couple of years ago now. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about why is it so taboo in society to be a crazy cat lady, right? And I really started thinking about it, and I really that's where my
Mm-hmm.
heart went, was to the this when they just started the Salem witch, or the witch trials, and the Catholic Church really going after quote unquote witches, which were any woman really.
Exactly. But I'm not going to target the Catholic Church
Sure.
specifically, because then very closely after, during this time, then of course we had the Lutherans, and then the Protestants, and it was actually the Protestants or the Pilgrims, right, that came across the ocean to settle in the U.S. So again, whether it's Catholic or Protestant or whatever,
Yeah.
but the stuff that happened with Salem and the witch hunt here. Um, was kind of really limited. It's kind of amazing how in different parts of Europe and the UK as well, we had formal witch hunts and all of that. How it just spread in our culture from a very small isolated incident is kind of interesting as well. And again, where does anything come from in terms of a superstition? Or it comes from the fear of the unknown. It comes from something that we're maybe afraid of, and we're afraid of it because maybe we don't know anything about it, right? So but I just find it so fascinating that we have the superstition, but if you look back culturally, it wasn't, even in this country, it wasn't, it was kind of still a double-edged sword, because you can look at old Halloween costumes going back to like the 1920s, and it was a lot more lighthearted then, and then it turned darker and darker, probably in the maybe the 60s and the 70s, where we have really that stereotypical, you know arched black cat, and the glowing red eyes, and that kind of really that more evil looking thing. But now, are you noticing, and I've been really conscious of this, so we will still have, but if you look at even, and this particular little pot holder I have. Okay, this is probably a copy of of some designs from the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
But look at this. This is kind of like friendly. There's nothing really
Yeah, kind
really
of
nasty about it.
cartoonish.
So
Yeah.
that here we are. We're really. Have you noticed though that I think we are getting less of the products that are stereotypically negative. But I honestly, since I think Instagram has been huge, huge in dispelling a lot of the myths, and also just creating a lot of the awareness. It's been phenomenal. So, I'm
Yeah.
curious to see what kind of things did you buy that were kind of black cat related, Jessica?
So you like items that were.
Yeah, like
So,
shopping.
what I have found is that I have a hard time finding black cat items, but Michael's, the craft store,
Yes.
they have a lot that is that more like vintage 40s cat. A
Hmm.
lot of their decor, their Halloween decor, it revolves around that like characterization, which
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
like
the
you said,
style.
much more lighthearted, which I appreciate.
Mm. But I think
um,
also as consumers, I think as we're getting more aware, uh, through social media, through all media, and particularly, it's the younger demographic of new cat owners, or pet parents, as we like to call them, the millennials. They are really instrumental in not only sharing and spreading really the positive image of cats, all cats, about shelter adoption, about really good healthcare, veterinary care, diet. They're the ones also that are certainly very into purchasing, the products. So again, it's supply and demand. So as our culture is embracing this idea that black cats are wonderful to adopt, I think we're making some inroads. I mean, we're still not there yet. Did you know that the reason why black cats are so prevalent in shelters is not necessarily because they're black?
I know that black dogs and cats have a harder time getting adopted because it's harder to take a good picture of them, which is so crazy.
That's a myth. It's like, yeah.
I know.
I mean, my God, my black cat Instagram account, Black Cats of IG, that's all we post are pictures of cats. And they're all gorgeous. And they're all like, it's just pretty easy. But in terms of the cats, and I guess the dogs, maybe it's different. I don't know, because I am so cat focused. Yes, they are a little slower to be adopted, but it's because there's just more of them. There's just, like, in terms of the population, and part of it is genetics. Part of it is their entire history. If we just would break down like the entire world and all the millions of cats in the world, there's just more of them. So there's that as well. I think definitely there is, and I have not been to a shelter recently, but when I used to volunteer at a shelter near where I live, and that was one of the reasons why I decided to do this book and do this project. And it was, when you know something, you read about it, maybe you see it somewhere, but when it actually happens to you personally and it's in your face, and that's what happened to me. And I just to this day, I just cannot believe that that there are people like that out there, but there are. So I'm there and I overheard a couple. I was just doing something else. I was socializing the cats. And I overheard this couple who were looking obviously for a new cat. And the person that was helping them showed this beautiful black cat. What about this cat? And I was right there, and then I got into the conversation. Yeah, like, look, he's so playful and beautiful. And the woman turned to me and she said, we don't want a black cat. And she kind of looked to her husband, and it was like, and well, why not? Oh, and then she just launched into a whole thing, and you could tell she was really uncomfortable because, most of the time when we have something that we are prejudiced against, and then we actually start talking about it, then you have to actually kind of go like, well, why am I? Why am I? There was that kind of inner conflict because she was just repeating something. Well, my mother said that they would, right? And I could see the source of it. But there was no changing her mind. And, with that same person now, with the awareness that we have, would she be different? Yeah, probably. So, and after that, I'm going, oh my goodness, I think I have to do something. And one thing led to another. And, I was blogging about black cat awareness really like almost 10 years ago. But in terms of doing something really formally, because Black Hat Awareness Month is now a formal holiday, came really, around the time that my book came out in 2017, and it's just so heartening to see. I mean, half the time I don't get credit for it. I just see people, they're creating posters or creating events, or they're, sharing their cats. And like, I don't care, whatever. Just like get the word out there.
As long as it's positive, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I think we've really made, inroads. I mean, we've got a way to go, but we're getting there.
Yeah, and gosh, my mind was just like pinging all over the place with everything you were saying. But I did have one quick story that I hadn't thought of in so long, but you were talking about there are just simply more black cats out there.
Mm.
I got into all of this by doing TNR in my community. And while I went to many different feral colonies and helped trap, I had my own colony at my house. And very interestingly, they were all literally like, they were 12 or 13, depending, some
Mhm.
of them would kind of wander. 12 or 13, all of them were black. All of them.
All of them.
Every last one. And
Wow.
I loved them so much. When I married my husband, I actually relocated them with me, which was an undertaking, but very successful. And so I had this colony for many, many years. They, just kind of slowly over time, one wouldn't show up and then another wouldn't show up. I wound up with 2 left when we moved to California. I said, you know what? You guys are coming inside, whether you like it or not. And they did. And I still have
Wow.
one of them he just rules the roost, honestly. But I've had many, many black cats, I can say, have owned me over my life. And I have a special place in my heart for them. And I never realized it. It wasn't like I set out to have black cats.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're attracted to me or what, but
Well, clearly. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because there was another person who also inspired me, who also had a colony of black cats, maybe not 100%, but just about 100%. And she had this very, very old black cat, kind of the patriarch of the colony, and his name was Punchy. And she was a follower of my blog, and she sent in the story one day, and I was just so moved by it. And that if I didn't have enough reason to do the project, that really got me going. And he's not with us anymore, but he lived to a very ripe old age, and his story is in my book as well. And so yeah, that really. Oh, by the way, my very first cat. My very first cat was black as well, and that was such a sad story, because as an empath, I mean, I've been an intuitive all my life. I was very young, probably a preschooler, and I really wanted a cat. And I had my very first book was a cat book. Um, and that started, so I was begging for a cat, and so my parents brought home a little black kitten that I named Smokey. And at that point, my parents had never had a pet before, let alone a cat. They had no clue how to take care of it, what was involved, and very quickly they decided that this isn't going to work. And they brought the kitten to a neighbor, and I went down there. It was just to this day it's heartbreaking, because I knew what was going to happen. And that they just took the cat as a mouser, and it was this dusty old basement, and that's where that cat was going to live. And I never forgot it. So and it took me a while. I mean, I had obviously, I have a long history of cats, but I didn't have one for a few years. I was really, really heartbroken.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was Smokey. Oh my God, I'm like tearing up just thinking about it.
I know. It's making me feel, wow, all the feels too.
Yeah, because you know what? It's when we look at everything that we do, whether we do like the TNR, whether you're, writing, or, podcasting, or, whatever we're doing, there's such an overlap between, I mean, certainly for me, I've done so many different things in my life, but the cats were kind of always weirdly a part of it. So, even, I'm like, let's say in art college, and, I'm, studying to be an interior designer, and somehow the cats were still there. And then when I was teaching aromatherapy and I had my own school, and my cats were always in the classroom. I mean, it's just always been that way. And then I founded, of course, a cat rescue in Canada that still happily goes on without me. And that was 23 years ago.
Wow.
That's the Annex Cat Rescue in Toronto. They do very, very good
Wow.
work. And that happened again, have you ever thought about why you're thinking, why am I attracting these cats? What is it about this, right? But it's like, to me, it's like there's that kind of innate, maybe interest. Maybe it's a past life thing, probably. But then there's always something just happens. There's always that kind of, they kind of just show up. And certainly where I was living, there was a very small colony behind the house. And I started, again, this was 24 years ago. Like, I knew nothing. Nothing about cat rescue. But it's like, whatever, they're there. Let me go feed them. I made a little shelter, and then and I had to move. And then I thought, well, who's going to take care of these cats?
Right.
And so I just reached out to my local this is pre-internet, Jessica.
Yeah.
I reached out to my local little newspaper, and I said, does anybody want to feed these cats? Or start some kind of a little group or organization that we could, do something. And they published it with my address and phone number. And the next day, the doorbell rings. And I open the door, and there's this young woman on a bicycle. And she hands me $100 bill. And she said, this is for the cats. And, and I know someone we can help you. So that $100 started my cat rescue, which is, I've done very well. And yeah, so what happened is a little group of us, we started meeting in my living room and started organizing. We sew little catnip toys, and we'd put them into the little pet supply whatever stores, and they'd sell them. And started collecting funds. I did a lot of different fundraising events, and then suddenly the group grew, and then that original colony, of course, was fed, and then it just spread out and spread out and spread out, and here we are. And that's all it is. One person, one action. Mm-hmm. Really, it was like one small action that I took, and that was it.
So. Yeah, such a huge ripple effect, right? Amazing. Yeah, I have a lot of those stories from my childhood too, where I'm like, oh my gosh, with animals specifically that were supposed to be pets. And I honestly, anytime I think about it, I always redirect myself and I say, you know what, that happened so that I'm a better person today. That happened so that I can educate others today. And like, that's kind of how I.
Absolutely, because we didn't know, and our parents didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know. We just, when we know better, we do better. So absolutely.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I know. I say that all the time, and I'm like, I'm saying that too much.
We can blame Oprah for that one. Yeah.
Well, these are like all my notes that I took for when I was trying to prep for today.
Sorry, I have not been speaking in short sound bites today.
No, it's totally fine. I always enjoy whatever tangent you go on. I always enjoy it because it always does come back to, the cats somehow, which is the most important part. I did want to. I felt called to say this, and I don't talk about this I have not talked about this at all on my podcast. In fact, the only place I have talked about it is on my Patreon, because I have a very safe space there with my Patreon family. But I know that you will know exactly what I'm talking about. I have had my remaining black cat. His name is Romeo. I've had a lot of issues with him. And I've talked to quite a few animal communicators who have tapped into him, and professional readings and people on Clubhouse, and they all say the same thing, that pretty much that he chose me, and that he was very special in a past life. One person even said he was a king in a past life. And he just expects to be waited on hand and foot, basically.
Yes, but tell me, so then what are the issues?
Well, he started spraying a number of years ago, and I've been managing that. I was not managing it well at first, let me tell you. I had many nights where I was just bawling in tears, cleaning up, because I'm like, I don't understand why are we after many vet visits and constant blood panels and all the things that my Western brain, right, says to do. And we're managing very, very well, actually, with positive reinforcement. He gets a treat when he goes and uses the litter box, so we're doing very well with that. But he is a bully to my female cat, and that's basically what a lot of the animal community, the first one that I, professional that I hired, she was the first one to tell me he just doesn't like female cats, like, period, full stop, end of story. So we've been working on that a lot lately.
Did you try the flower essences?
I've tried flower essence, a few. I haven't gotten the brand, green something that you.
Honestly, try it. They're really awesome. But I can definitely also suggest a few other things. Yeah, the thing when there is that kind of hierarchy, because usually in a multi-cat household, it's going to be the female cat that rules the roost. So if you have a male cat like Romeo who doesn't want that, that is going to create the issue. But I think is he still spraying?
Very rarely.
Okay, good.
Very, very rarely. And what's really interesting to me is that everything about this contradicts what my Western brain knows, right? My don't assign human emotions to your animals, and cats never do anything out of spite, or what I mean, like, that's how
exactly, they're not jealous, they're not
right, that's how our Western brain thinks. And when I really put it into perspective with everything the animal communicators and energy healers have told me, it makes so much. When I'm not paying attention to him in as quick a fashion as he likes, he walks over to wherever I am and he will spray. And this is very, very rare, because I really wait on him hand and foot, let me tell you. But he does get very, like, antsy with me sometimes. And like I said, my Western brain is like, I'm assigning a human emotion to him. But the other part of me, the more, like, energy, we're one, I feel you kind of part of me, is like, no, I'm not addressing his needs in as quick a fashion, or maybe even the appropriate fashion that he is expecting me to.
But have you just asked him, like, in that particular instance, like, what do you want?
Yeah, so my issue really, it's me. I talk to him a lot, and I explain things to him a lot, but I have a hard time hearing him. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part of myself I'm trying to work on.
Okay, yeah, because I think you were probably in one of the rooms where I was talking about my cat Nunu, who was a hoarder rescue with one eye and was very traumatized. And I could not, it would be like tuning into a radio station, and it's all like rattly, and I couldn't listen to her to hear what she was saying. And it was only when there was one animal communicator that finally got through. She had a hard time getting through to her, and she's probably worked on 20,000 cats in her life. And she go, oh boy, like, and so she explained everything. And once that happened, then I was able to kind of fine tune, like, to the radio station where she was. And then the person I'm actually, you know, because I have this amazing panel of animal communicators at my room on Monday. And so I've been working with one of them, and we have really made big progress. So I'm able now to communicate with her in a way that I couldn't. I needed that kind of conduit. And so maybe that's also for you. And again, I can't explain exactly how it happened, but we can certainly talk about this another day.
Sure.
So for you to just fine tune that kind of, you know, because again, everyone will take in that information. You know, is it verbal? Is it auditory? You know, kinesthetic or what have you. So, but when you do hear Romeo talk, how does that appear to you?
So he is very intentional. He stares at me. I mean, just eye to eye, and he has this like glare. And really, the most that I get from him, more than anything, is just, "This is what I want. Why aren't you doing it?" You know, and like.
But how do you know what that is? If he's okay, so he's looking at you or glaring at you intently, and so there has to be something between that and then the object that he wants. You know, whether is it so let's say he wants a treat. So where's the disconnect between the looking at you? He is sending you a message, and then you're not getting, is it the treat? Is it something else? Like,
a lot of the times when I'm really like, I feel him staring at me, it's because I'm paying attention to another cat. He doesn't like it.
Okay, that's another story.
It's him or nothing, and it's a thing. And I have to say, I'm quite gun shy at the moment with hiring anyone else because the people that I have hired so far, who have been absolutely wonderful, and I love them to death. I don't know if it's them or if it's that he just doesn't like his energy messed with. But anytime somebody tunes into him, he goes around and sprays constantly.
Oh, isn't that interesting? That's really unusual.
He doesn't like his energy messed with.
Yeah.
Wow, very controlling, and I'm sure probably insecure, maybe, especially if the whole, you know, past life, maybe even king thing were to be true. That's a very, you know, that position is very, you know, I am the greatest, the best, and everything else just, you know, falls in my lap. And if something is out of place or not the way I want, then, you know, done with you.
Have you worked with any crystals?
Yeah, I not much. I have been doing some crystal therapy and some color therapy. I will find him occasionally going and sitting by his crystals. I have, off the top of my head, I believe I have an amethyst, an aquamarine, and a turquoise for him.
My feeling is to try some black stones, black obsidian, tourmaline. I'm working with actually black tourmaline for Nunu right now. She's having some OCD behavior. So it does work on a lot of behavioral issues. Certainly worth a try. See how he just responds. Do you have any in the house?
No, I don't, but I can find some.
Yeah, I would try any of the black stones.
Yeah, I've been trying to do color therapy for him as well, and he is very avoidant.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Very
surprised
avoidant.
about that. That might be just a little too invasive. But I would try the black, and again, because it has that kind of absorbent quality. And again,
Mm-hmm.
depending on which one, I'm kind of leaning towards the tourmaline. You just get a nice chunk of it, uh, and just see how he responds. And I'm just thinking, definitely I'd be happy to, take a look at him and see what I'm picking up. But yeah, but again, when when a cat does any kind of behavior and they get a certain response from us,
Mm-hmm.
then we are actually training them. So it's the
Yes.
same way that, they're doing what we don't want them to do, and we respond. It's like, no, 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 don't do that. Blah, blah, blah. You're yelling, whatever, that kind of thing. Absolutely, as you know, is still a response. And it's like, oh,
Yes.
I'm getting attention. Uh, but if it's something in this case, I'm just thinking, how could we do this differently? Um, I feel like, and I know this has been going on for a long time, I feel like there's just a missing piece here. And it's sort of like, when I was struggling so much with Nunu, and it was like, oh my God, it's like, like I know how to do this. Why am I struggling so much? And it
Mm-hmm.
was this kind of little missing piece of um, an energetic piece. Oh my God, I just got it. I just got it. Have you have you cut any energetic cords between Romeo and another life?
No.
Because that's what happened with this was just a few weeks ago, where, and I never even thought to do it. There were more than one, I don't know, maybe a dozen cords between my cat and the hoarder, who was probably bipolar
Mm.
and was still energetically tapping into her energy.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I never even thought to do that. So, and I can't believe I just thought of it right now. It was like, because it's just not something that we usually think about.
Yeah,
So that
that's
might be
interesting.
a start.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting into even things like the Akashic Records. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's just, if there were just, so one, that one little piece will then just shift and open everything else. It's sort of like a domino effect. Um,
Yeah. And it's not even about, for me, his spraying. I mean, occasionally it is, don't get me wrong, because I
yeah,
break down. But it's about him being happy. That's where I'm just, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and again, there are some cats that either want to be solo cats, they want to be the only cat, or they want just who they want. But you have a dog, don't you? So
I do.
how does he get
Yeah.
along with?
So my dog actually and my cats are separate. My husband is allergic to my cats, so I have a whole room set up for them with their cat trees, and I have windows, and it's a whole
Mhm,
thing. They have their own like house
mhm.
connected to our house. My dog will go out there with me, and for the most part, my cats ignore her. Romeo will occasionally like kind of follow her around. He's the only one that will do that, but he's just like, hmm, who are you? And then turns
So,
around and walks away.
so sort of just mildly curious,
Yeah, yeah,
but not threatened at all,
no,
and
mm-mm.
it's not eliciting any bullying behavior.
No,
That
no.
might actually be something to encourage, to see
Mhm.
if their bond could be strengthened, because then somehow one might help the other in terms of communication.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought
you
much
know,
about that.
something to explore. It's just, it never ends. Everyone who does, behavioral work or training or animal communication, whatever, I think we're just always, always learning. And for me, I just stay wide open. Even if when I think, well, that's the way that's the way it always works. That's worked in the past. That's really a good, protocol. And then something will happen out of the blue, and it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
cord cutting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
why not?
interesting.
Exactly. I mean, cats are incredible energetic beings. I mean, and then when you have a cat like Romeo, who's, you know, he's a very special, energetic being, right?
He
So,
is.
and that's why he's sensitive to. How is he when you just pet him? Does he have like any favorite spots?
He does. He really, surprisingly, like right on the top of his head and under his chin are his absolute favorites. He doesn't like me touching his tail at all. That's his sensitive spot for sure.
Anywhere like the base of the tail or the tip of the tail? Anywhere in particular?
Mostly the base of the tail. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a chakra there.
Yeah. So he might need some,
Some
yeah,
chakra balancing. Oh, you know
balance.
what I've been doing lately? Um, do you ever work with any of the binaural frequencies, the Rife frequencies? So these are sound frequencies that some people will add music to the sounds, and they are amazing. So there are ones even for balancing chakras. There are ones for specifically for pets, but I will often just play just regular ones, whether it might be just something for calming, let's say, any kind of physical issue. Like I had a headache the other day, so I put that on, and they work really well, and animals are actually quite responsive to them. Now, ideally for humans, you've got your headphone on because it is kind of left brain, right brain for the hearing.
Oh,
But
interesting.
even without, obviously our dogs and cats are not going to wear headphones, but even if it's just playing in the background. Um, that might be something to explore as well. And I'm just feeling there's like something really off with his base chakra into the first to the second, which would also be, of course, the urinary bladder, uh,
Interesting.
all of that.
Interesting.
So worth a try. Absolutely. You can just
Yeah,
go and
definitely.
Google on YouTube. They're great. It's free. um, Chakra balancing, whatever. The colors usually will go on and they'll shift or whatever. You can look at them or not look at them. It doesn't matter because it's just going to be about the sound. It's worth a shot.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that for myself lately too. So I'm very and we could do it together.
Yeah, you can absolutely do it together, and just notice his body language. Notice particularly the tail. Notice if there's something, a little twitching, a little whatever, and also notice, of course, the ears, but particularly I think the whiskers. So just notice how he's sitting, or lying down, and just
Hmm.
really notice the when it goes from, let's say, one chakra to another. There'll usually be a little bit of a beat, a pause, so you'll know if you're not actually watching the screen. You'll know it's gone, from base chakra to sacral and so on. Yeah. Oh boy, I'm really curious to see how that might be a good, a good, just an adjunct, whatever.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I am definitely going to try the black tourmaline and the chakra balancing, and I will also look into the cord cutting. That interests me quite a bit. Um, I don't think anything happens like just to I think everything happens for a reason, and I was actually
Yeah.
listening to a podcast this morning about a woman who was hypnotized and found all these memories of a past life, and it's just so interesting.
Oh, I have a theory because, when I discovered Clubhouse, oh goodness, it was, during the winter, and what else was there to do? Because we're like inside, right? And I thought it was just, I fell in love with it so much that I don't hardly even do Facebook anymore, or Twitter or whatever. And I have a theory that the little groups that get together, that we've connected to, um, on a because I'll see the same people over and over again, considering
Mhm.
there's like, millions of people, and I don't know how
Yeah,
many thousands of different rooms going on literally every minute of the day, right? And those, I see them as a kind of like a bit of a soul group that we have known each other before, because I have already made friends that, that are either my cohorts, or, I've done work with them. My regular moderator, Jackie in
mhm.
London, we FaceTime all the time. I mean, it's like,
She's
we're like
wonderful.
friends, and you just know there's that kind of like, I mean, here we are, like, it's like we're just chatting, like
Yeah,
whatever.
I
Like,
know.
I don't, I'm not in normal podcast mode at all.
I have to tell you, my
Yeah.
favorite podcasts to listen to are either I really like the like supernatural or crime junkie, but I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast all the time, and you never know what they're going to talk about. It doesn't matter what that person does for a living, or you know what I mean, like the book
Yeah.
they just wrote. You have no idea what they're going to talk about, and I love it.
So, I'm thinking now, I've been so slow to get on this. I mean, forget about YouTube. I mean, I hate YouTube. I hate video. And I'm like, here I am. I'm like, oh my God, I have to be on the screen, and I hate it. But you know
Oh,
what? I'm feeling like I need to teach again. I mean, my background, in terms of the metaphysics, everything, spiritual. I mean, I was teaching 20 years ago.
yeah.
And I kind of, fell off that thing, and, got into more of the cat thing. And now I really want to return back to teaching again. So I am thinking courses, or it's now that I'm an elder, I'm a crone. So it's, yeah,
Well, yeah, you know what? Do it.
yeah,
Like, do it. And I have online courses. And the wonderful thing about them is that of course you update them as necessary, but they're evergreen.
yeah,
You put in the work
absolutely.
and it's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah, because I mean, as the whole topic of whether it's cats, or spirituality, or, all that, just that self-awareness, um, topics that, people are hungry for it. And, there's so much information, because you can find absolutely anything about anything. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, just go on TikTok, and it's all there. But is it factual?
Right.
And there's so much misinformation. We have all these, these very young, I don't know, 20 something, experts and gurus and whatever. I'm like, hello, where is your life experience? So
Yeah.
I am feeling a little bit of that obligation, to take my pretty vast, vast, and very, very diverse history, to, share what I know. I mean, that's why I love to do the rooms that I do, on Clubhouse. So I think that's kind of prompting me to go, okay, maybe I need to take this to a broader audience or a different audience. So
Absolutely. I'm here for it. Do it.
okay, thank you.
I'm here for it. Yeah, Jay or I'm sorry, the two crazy cat ladies are just killing it on TikTok. And the wonderful thing
I
about them is
heard. Oh my
that
God. Hold
they,
on. Are you on TikTok?
yeah.
You are. Oh my.
Oh,
I have thought about it, but I just don't know if I can handle another platform. But
right.
they're awesome because they are, it's not that they're particularly um, expert or started out that way, but they just made it so.
They
And
just keep learning and
they
keep
keep learning
sharing.
and they share it, and they're wonderful on camera.
Hmm.
And I think it's also nice to have that the thing, it's hard to do even a podcast by yourself, or it's nice to have that back and forth between another person, or
Hmm.
having maybe animals in the background, or what have you. So yeah, I think, I really I love the work that they do. um,
Yeah,
and we
it's
need that. We
absolutely.
need all the good information. The information that you're putting out, and we need all of it and
Yes.
more of it.
Yes, I agree. And actually, Dr. Lori Kozer last night said that I think they're going to all try to get together, especially. I don't know if you know Dr. Lori Kozer. She's an integrative veterinarian. And I
Yeah,
think,
yeah, I do know her.
yeah, they're going to get together and try to get some more veterinarians on board, which I don't think will be difficult, and just blast a PSA to get your cats off of kibble. Um, if at all possible, even if it's just to a wet
Yeah,
food, a canned food. Like,
yeah. You
yeah,
know what? I wonder, but what about a sponsor that would be, either a raw food brand as a sponsor?
I think that would be wonderful. I know I would, a couple off the top of my head, I would reach out to. Um, yeah, I might try to interject myself and see if I can find a raw
Yeah,
food
because
sponsor.
I mean that's totally your jam.
Yeah, because it is like, well, and as Dr. Kozer was saying, because she still practices. A lot of the vets that we follow online, they don't practice anymore. They
Yeah.
teach, and which is
Yep.
wonderful and necessary. But she still practices, and she's just like, it is devastating to me to see all of the disease and all of the harm, just all of the pain these cats are going through, and it is all
It's
because of food.
avoidable.
Yeah, 100% avoidable. Um, but it's with knowledge, right? Because there are some master marketers out there.
Well, I mean,
That,
if you look at in my early days of blogging, I was not that fussy about who was sponsoring my posts. I did a lot of work with some of the biggest brands. I'm not going to name anybody, but when you look at, and I used to write also for Pet Finder, and then at that point, and they were acquired, whatever, by a brand. I would have to go through so much editing. I didn't deal with just one marketing agency or ad agency. Uh, I'd go through like several. The budgets that they have for doing, whether it's a TV commercial, print, whatever, uh, it's mind-boggling how much money
mhm.
they're spending.
Yeah.
And again, if you can get your message, no matter what the message is, to a large audience, and again, everything is very targeted. So that's why they make the profits that they make and continue to to sell those products that.
Mhm.
And again, I mean, that if you're dealing with a breakdown of the ingredients of, let's say, kibble, and a really good quality food, commercial quality food, not necessarily a homemade made food,
Right.
you do a cost analysis. I don't know if you've done that.
No.
And that is why we still see kibble for sale, because of
Yeah.
the huge profit.
Oh,
Huge profit.
yeah. Well, especially because a lot of them, I'm not going to say all of them, because there are some companies out there that are trying really hard to do better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, the change, in the 10 years that I've been blogging, and and I've worked with probably every major brand, but I've also consulted privately as well. And I think we're making a little bit of progress. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in another 10 years, I think we're going to see, but it's slow. But when we're talking about really changing an entire industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the history, it's a new industry.
Yeah.
The idea of even a commercial pet food,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's recent.
Yeah,
I mean, what is it,
1900s.
60 years?
Yeah. No, it is. It's very recent. And yeah, it's gosh, I could talk for hours on
Yeah, same here.
talk for hours. But yeah, no, I think I don't even know how I got to Dr. Lori Kosher, but
Uh,
um,
yeah, but I mean, this is just what we're doing, and what we're doing actually is a very intuitive flow that we are actually touching on everything that needs to be spoken of today.
I love that. I absolutely love that. But yes, I would like to. I have gone over the time that I told you that I would need you for. So I definitely want to be mindful of your schedule. So I was hoping to end with a positive note about
Yes.
black cats. And I know that there are certain instances throughout history where black cats were actually considered good luck. So I thought maybe we could talk about that.
Yeah, here's something I'd like to. Did you know that a lot of black cats are polydactyl?
No, I
Yes, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of a positive story, because this is not really a myth. This is actually true. So there is the um, idea that black cats are very lucky for sailors
mhm.
and pirates, for that matter. The different people that would sail the seven seas and whatever. And The reason for that was the black cats were often polydactyl, so they'd have those extra toes, and that would make them, not only would they make them really excellent mouse or rat, vermin killers, but they also were able to climb. They have to climb up the ropes and the mast and all of that, and so they could actually um, you know, hang on, because these were ships without stabilizers. It was pretty rough going, and so yeah, there were actually more black cats, and then eventually they just thought, oh, these black cats, were the sailors would love them, and away, and there we go.
Awesome. Yes. I yeah, there are a couple of instances throughout history, I think, that being probably the most notable. Well, thank you so much. I can't tell you how wonderful it was to talk to you today, Layla. And I do want to give you the opportunity to tell all of our listeners where they can find you for more information, more of everything, because I know I never get enough. Never get enough.
Absolutely. So my website, catwisdom101.com. Basically, Cat Wisdom 101 across all social media platforms. And my black one, of course, is Black Cats of IG. And in that bio, there's a hyperlink to everything that I'm up to, including my new shop that I'm working on right now.
I'm so excited for it. I've been working on merch as well. Obviously not specifically black cat, so I'm very excited to see the designs you come out with, and we'll definitely be purchasing.
Yeah, they're going to be really, really unlike anything you see on the market. I'm calling it kind of the The Alchemy of Black Cats.
Ooh.
About how, wearing something can be almost like a talisman, or, it has a transformational quality to it by, just wearing it. So that's my intention there.
Oh, wonderful. I love that intention. And I love the idea of the intention putting on a piece of clothing and that, yeah, that's wonderful. Feeling different. I love that. Thank you so much. And for everyone listening, I will have all of Layla's information linked in the show notes. We're going to go ahead and end today's podcast. And thank you so much for joining us. All of you wonderful pet parents, remember, as Layla said at the beginning, when we know better, we do better. So I will go ahead and end the podcast with that. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you again, Layla.
Thank you, Jessica.
So honored to have you here with us. So y'all have a wonderful rest of your week, and give your dogs and cats some extra love from me and from Layla this week. Bye, guys.
Oh, oh.